Coming up on Cronkite News, hear plans on the border fence from both sides of the political fence. Ducey and Duval give their input. And does Arizona's legislature have a right to choose congressional districts? The U.S. Supreme Court will decide. Plus, some new and helpful patients check into a university medical center. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Annalise Ortiz. Thanks for joining us. As the November election draws near, reporter Megan Guthrie breaks down the issue of immigration, asking the Republican and Democratic candidates for governor their plans to enact change.
The topic of immigration is nothing new for the state of Arizona. Both gubernatorial candidates Fred Duval and Doug Ducey agree. When it comes to border security, the federal government is underperforming.
I give our federal government a failing grade.
Well, I give Washington, D.C. an F.
So, why the bad grade?
The leaders of both parties have failed Arizona, have failed the border states, and have failed the country in dealing with this issue.
So many of the lingering issues around this topic are a result of our federal government not dealing with it, and there's plenty of blame to go around here. This isn't just one party.
And if elected governor, what is each candidate's plan?
One, reach out to work with our federal government, work with our border agents, but beyond that, there are very real issues around cross-border crime that are happening, drug cartels, human trafficking. This is where the Department of Public Safety comes in. This is where border sheriffs and border county prosecutors come in.
Going after the bad actors, the cartels, smugglers, is one of the things that a governor can do. Properly resourcing our state police is certainly a part of what a governor can and should do. Advocating with other governors for a comprehensive solution is something that a governor should do.
Regarding comprehensive immigration reform, their thoughts are mixed.
We need a comprehensive bill passed that addresses our security needs, our economic needs, our cultural needs, and the time to do it is now, and really am hopeful that the President and the Congress both will step up and get this important job done.
I'm not a huge fan of the word comprehensive. It somewhat reminds me of Obamacare. We knew we needed health care reform. We knew there were certain issues like pre-existing conditions and lifetime caps that should have been solved, but they tried to solve everything underneath the sun, and what we're seeing is a real rolling disaster. So I think there are issues around immigration that we can solve first, and let's do it in a step-by-step basis, and let's do it with a sense of urgency.
With just 34 days left until the general election, voters will have to wait and see how their winning candidate will respond. In Phoenix, Megan Guthrie, Cronkite News.
Now, of course, this is just one topic that's in the minds of voters, and we'll continue to keep you informed on the candidates' plans on the issues that matter most to you. Now, before either Ducey or Duval can make headway on immigration, sitting Governor Jan Brewer is working on ways to stop human trafficking. The Arizona Human Trafficking Council launched its website to educate the public on how to help with this problem. Now, as you can see, there are several resources within the community, as well as information on current state laws and the council itself. U.S. Customs and Border Protection is using drones to try and stop illegal immigration along the border. But are these drones invading your privacy? Stephen Hicks is in our Washington, D.C. bureau with the answer.
This week, Congress received an audit of Customs and Border Protection's use of drones that showed that they do have policies in place to comply with existing privacy laws. U.S. Customs and Border Protection passed the privacy test.
We did not specifically give CBP a grade in our report, but
GAO did find that Border Protection, in its use of drones, has an oversight framework with policies for following civil liberty laws. Policies like yearly privacy awareness training for all employees, as well as limiting the access of captured images to those with a need to know. The original report, done by the Department of Homeland Security, failed to answer one important question.
They did not specifically discuss the extent to which CBP's UAS were operating within border and coastal areas. And so to provide that information, we did our own analysis.
They found over 10,000 drone flight hours along the southwest border from fiscal year 2011 to April 2014, or 57% of the total drone usage across the country. Arizona Congressman Ed Pastor, who was on the House committee that mandated the report, didn't have a chance to read the report, but did speak to its importance.
A drone can be effective in law enforcement, but it also has to ensure that the privacy rights of individuals who are not connected to that investigation are protected.
Customs and Border Protection has not issued a comment on the report, but according to its website, among its other uses, the drones are used by Border Patrol to detect the entry of goods and persons on the border. In Washington, D.C., Stephen Hicks, Cronkite News.
Now, the United States Supreme Court announced today they will hear a case that could result in big changes for how state and congressional voting districts are drawn up in Arizona. Brittany Bade is live in our Washington bureau with more. Brittany?
Well, Arizona voters stripped the power to draw up voting districts from state lawmakers back in 2000. Now the state legislature is saying that that vote was unconstitutional and they want that power back. Now, so far, lower courts have sided with the redistricting commission, but today, an order from the Supreme Court gave the state a fighting chance.
Good news for the state legislature.
Obviously, we're pleased at the outcome.
Means bad news for the Arizona Independent Redistricting Commission.
It is a concern that the Supreme Court decided to take this case.
The Supreme Court announced today they will hear the Arizona State Legislature's case against the Redistricting Commission.
The court has determined that we have a legitimate argument.
The legislature's opponents say giving this power back to state officials leads to
politicians to pick their voters rather than voters choosing their politicians.
But the legislature argues it's all about upholding the Constitution.
We think the United States Constitution is fairly clear on who is to do congressional redistricting.
This Supreme Court case features Arizona, but could affect many others.
6 states have citizens commissions,
putting what the people voted for on the line.
The stakes are enormous for the integrity of our democracy.
The Supreme Court agreed to hear both sides of the argument, but a date for the hearing has not yet been set. Live in Washington, D.C., Brittany Bade, Cronkite News.
Now we're heading out to the street with Elle Johns for more coming up. Elle?
With the preseason coming up, the Phoenix Suns continue training in Flagstaff's high altitudes. And meet this ASU soccer player who's an asset to her team.
Brothers and sisters, can you tell me where to go?
The women were breaking the glass ceiling.
That just thrilled me. We're traveling back in time to help solve family mysteries.
No way! That's amazing.
A new deal for the American people.
We wouldn't be who we are without them.
I just gotta get on back to my home at any cost.
Who were the people that got us from there?
A world without glass, clean drinking water, time, or light.
To here.
These were hobbyists, garage inventors, and obsessive tinkerers. These are people who actually made the modern world, who set off an amazing chain reaction of ideas.
It's the story of How We Got to Now with Stephen Johnson, coming in October, only on PBS.
I'm standing up for myself and for other people like me.
Wow.
This is a bit odd.
Are you okay?
It's kind of insane, but in a good way.
We are 1 week away from the Phoenix Suns preseason opener. I was up in Flagstaff yesterday for day 2 of the training camp, where higher altitudes are proving difficult for some players, but for returners, it's an easy adjustment.
I think the new guys are adjusting. I think the guys who kind of been here last year is kind of just picking up where they left off.
7-year NBA veteran Green is taking on the role of building the team's community.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everybody to talk more. I think that once we kind of loosen up, I think everybody's still trying to feel each other out.
It's not just the communication the Suns are working on. It's also the way they run the court.
Everybody's still trying to learn a new system, learn the plays, and you know, it's first day, everybody's still so rusty.
It's a copycat league, so everybody runs the same type of stuff, just different calls. So the only thing I'm learning right now is just the names of the plays.
With all the new talent learning the routines, Green says he just wants to be a support for his team.
I want to win. I want to win. I don't care who plays. I don't care if I play 30 minutes or 6 minutes. I just want to win. Whoever's out there, whoever the best five is out there to help us win, that's why I want to play.
The Phoenix Suns were just one game away from making the playoffs last season, but this year they're hoping for a different outcome. One Arizona State University soccer player focuses on more than just her glory. As Lacey Darrow reports, working together with her team is just as important.
Junior Callie Farquharson encourages her teammates as the ASU women's soccer team practices. That's just one of the things that makes her a standout on the field.
Most forwards have a selfish streak, and they should. She doesn't really have that. She scores goals so that her team wins. She doesn't score goals for her glory.
One of my main focuses going into every game is how I'm going to be a better teammate rather than how am I going to score.
The team is currently on a 6-game winning streak. Farquharson was named the Western States Conference Player of the Week because of her accomplishments in 2 of those.
Look at those goals!
5 goals and 1 assist in their wins against New Mexico State and Nevada. But she wants to be even better.
There are many aspects of my soccer that I would like to improve, especially my touch, just everything. Mentality, going into games, aggressiveness.
She's doing what she does every season. She's spectacular. So she's a special soccer player. Anybody who gets a chance should come watch her. She is really good.
Although Callie is majoring in biological sciences with an emphasis in animal physiology, she said,
I want to play soccer as long as possible. That is my goal.
In Tempe, I'm Lacey Darrow reporting for Cronkite News.
You can watch Callie and the rest of the ASU soccer team take on Oregon in the Pac-12 Conference this Friday at Sun Devil Stadium. ASU football prepares to take on USC. We know the Sun Devils are ready, but are the Trojans? Cronkite News reporter Trevor Zeiler joins us live from our LA bureau on how USC is gearing up for this weekend's game. Trevor?
Thanks, Sal. We're 48 hours away from kickoff. Here's what's going on in Trojan Nation. Cody Kessler has flown under the radar in a quarterback-heavy conference. He has put up stellar numbers so far, completing 72% of his passes and throwing no interceptions. He is on pace for a record-breaking year at a school well known for its quarterbacks. Defensive end Leonard Williams could be the #1 pick in next year's draft. He is probable for this week, and if healthy, looks to wreak havoc in ASU's backfield. The pass defense has been non-pareil. USC is the only school in the FBS yet to surrender a passing touchdown. Safety Sua Cravens is a ball hawk. He is only a sophomore and already has 5 career interceptions. The heat will be a factor. It will be 93 degrees at kickoff. That is ASU weather, unusual for this time of the year in LA. USC has beat ASU the last 7 times they have visited the Coliseum. The Trojans are looking to make it 8 in a row on Saturday. Live from Los Angeles, I'm Trevor Zeiler, Cronkite News.
Great point on the game time temperatures. Katrina, how does the weather look for those who want to head out west to the game?
Well, here in Arizona, we've been cooling off, but let's look at our radar. As you can see, over Arizona, California, in this area, we don't have any cloud cover or moisture, but I really want to focus in. You can see peaks of Tropical Storm Simon. Normally when a storm makes its way north, which this storm is going to make its way north, we would receive rainfall. However, due to the high pressure that's currently above us, we're not going to see any rain in the next few days. We're currently sitting at 90 degrees with a humidity at 13% and a dew point of 33 degrees in and around the state.
90 in Tucson, 65 in Flagstaff, 67 all the way up at the Grand Canyon. We're going to cool off tonight in and around the 60s. We're going to be at 64 degrees with clear skies. Keep that jacket handy. However, don't keep it on for long. We're going to heat back up. 96 in Phoenix, 80 in Prescott, 71 in Flagstaff, as well as in the Grand Canyon. As I said, that high pressure is currently sitting above us. We're going to experience temperatures relatively high, but not quite the triple digits. 99 on Saturday, down to 97 on Sunday. We're going to start off the week with a temperature of 96 degrees and end it down at 95 degrees. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Katrina Arroyos.
Let's check in with Mackenzie for what's next. Mackenzie?
The city of Phoenix is getting ready to paint the town purple to raise awareness. And Valley Medical students are developing their skills on some amazingly lifelike patients.
News doesn't stop on Friday at 7:30 at night. PBS NewsHour Weekend is kind of a natural next step. The NewsHour's been committed to being available on air or online, and now weekdays or weekends. There's no shortage of news that's out there, but why do people come to us? To give them some context and analysis that they can't find somewhere else.
PBS NewsHour Weekend, only on PBS. Check local listings.
These extraordinary Americans all share one thing in common, a past they never knew until now.
It's incredible.
In his new season on PBS, Henry Louis Gates Jr. helps them uncover the truth about where they come from.
I can't believe these documents even exist.
Wow. Get to know them as they discover who they really are.
That's pretty amazing.
Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr. starts Tuesday, September 23rd at 8, 7 Central, only on PBS.
I'm free. I'm free. And freedom tastes of reality.
Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton unveiled a plan to make his city a national leader in preventing domestic violence. Stanton held a news conference today to unveil the 5-year plan. O'Connor House and the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence were also on hand to kick off the Paint Phoenix Purple campaign. This is the second year residents can show their support for Domestic Awareness Month. By wearing purple, displaying the color sends a message to the community that there is no place for domestic violence.
The effort that this city is putting into the project of trying to reduce the instances of domestic violence is very important.
This is not one that's just about money. It's about helping your brother or sister. It's about helping your family. It's about helping your neighbor. And you have to be patient because it isn't an instant cure, but we can do this.
A group of ASU scientists participated in a recent study that aims to improve vaccine awareness by addressing the public concerns. Cronkite News reporter Lauren Loftus is working on this story and joins us now. Lauren, why are the scientists raising awareness?
Well, Mackenzie, the scientists are raising awareness because there seems to be a discrepancy between the way scientists communicate and the way the public communicates. So scientists communicate on really scientific, cut and dry levels, and that doesn't really resonate with general people. So the study aims to kind of bridge that gap that exists to kind of ease parents' concerns about vaccinations.
And what do the current numbers say for our state from the Arizona Health Department?
Well, currently, the rises of people that are exempting their children because of personal beliefs has been rising in the last decade. So it's gone up from a little more than 2% in the 2004 to 2005 school year to almost 5% the last school year.
What areas are most affected?
According to the health department, areas that include really high education, high income, higher socioeconomic areas are the most affected. That means that parents are exempting their children more than other areas. And in Arizona, Yavapai County has the highest rate of personal exemptions at over 11%.
Thank you, Lauren. For more on this story, visit CronkiteNewsOnline.com. Students at the University of Arizona College of Medicine are going to be getting more opportunities. Bethany Reed reports how the expansion of the school's facility in downtown Phoenix isn't just about added classrooms.
Students at the University of Arizona College of Medicine are getting hands-on experience, but their patients won't feel anything if they make a mistake. They will, however, have something to say about it.
I just feel like I have an elephant sitting on my chest.
As you can see, he can breathe. He has heart sounds, he has lung sounds, he can blink, he can sweat, he can have a convulsion. We can intubate him, we can put chest tubes in, we can start IVs. We can do a lot of stuff.
The simulation lab is actually really interesting. We have a number of different models and human mannequins up there that we're allowed to essentially practice medical techniques and surgical skills on, so that once we get out into the real field, you've actually had some experience doing these procedures.
Students practice on simulators that mimic real patients, adults, children, even women who can really give birth, and it gives them an edge.
You can tell there's a huge difference between students who have gone to schools without simulation and students who have gone to schools with simulation.
The school recently expanded, allowing more rooms for more simulators as well as classrooms.
In healthcare, over the last decade, it's become very well documented that students will learn much better in an experiential environment where they're actually doing something, and then they sit down afterward.
The center plans to go from an enrollment of 80 students this semester to 120 students next semester with the added space from the expansion. Bethany Reed, Cronkite News.
Dr. Smith says the facility will also benefit the entire community as it's open to healthcare professionals and first responders as well. Back to Annalise with more on Cronkite News.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Some Medicare patients could be on their way to paying less for prescriptions. We'll tell you the changes to look for.
News doesn't stop on Friday at 7:30 at night. PBS NewsHour Weekend is kind of a natural next step. The NewsHour's been committed to being available on air or online, and now weekdays or weekends. There's no shortage of news that's out there, but why do people come to us? To give them some context and analysis that they can't find somewhere else.
PBS NewsHour Weekend, only on PBS. Check local listings.
These extraordinary Americans all share one thing in common, a past they never knew until now.
It's incredible.
In his new season on PBS, Henry Louis Gates Jr. helps them uncover the truth about where they come from.
I can't believe that these documents even exist.
Wow. Get to know them as they discover who they really are.
That's pretty amazing.
Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr. starts Tuesday, September 23rd at 8, 7 Central, only on PBS.
I'm free. I'm free. And freedom tastes of reality.
Welcome back. Americans are on high alert as panic over the Ebola virus continues. Doctors in Hawaii are monitoring a patient they believe to have the virus. And the first patient reported in Dallas, well, he's in isolation with his family, but not all his family. The patient's brother lives here in Phoenix. And now, Medicare is an important part of many senior citizens' lives, but when paying for prescription drugs, some beneficiaries can fall into a gap that causes them to pay more for their medicine. Now, the Affordable Care Act is working to close this gap, but as one Scottsdale resident found, it might not be working fast enough.
You can't function when you're in pain.
Sandy Block just wanted to take care of her chronic pain and instead was in for a rude awakening at the pharmacy.
And they go $469, and that's for only a 30-day supply. And I said, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. And they go, no.
One reason the cost of Sandy's medicine might have been so expensive is because of something pharmaceutical professionals call the donut hole.
The donut hole is also called the coverage gap. And the donut hole affects about 1/3 of Medicare beneficiaries.
Basically, Medicare Part D beneficiaries are given a limit on how much they can spend on prescription meds during an initial coverage period. After that dollar amount is reached, the patient must begin paying more.
Medicare beneficiaries, unlike any other drug-covered individual in America with health insurance, have sort of a roller coaster of costs during the year.
And the Affordable Care Act could help make that roller coaster a smoother ride.
The Affordable Care Act slowly began to eliminate the donut hole. So between now and 2020, each year there's a gradual reduction in what beneficiaries are obligated to pay.
So by 2020, that coverage gap may be closed entirely. But for now, patients like Sandy could be feeling that donut hole effect.
I don't know how anybody can afford that.
The Area Agency on Aging suggests looking into a pharmaceutical assistance program that can work with a patient's Medicare plan. Well, that's all we have for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. Good night.